Welcome to the Details of Life with Marcus Wilson. I'm your host, Marcus Wilson. And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to start off by saying thank you, thank you, thank you. I mean, the amount of love and amount of support that I've gotten and the Details of Life has received here over the last couple of weeks has just been outstanding. You know, I didn't know how long it would take for this to take off. You know, this wasn't a fly-by-night idea. I was thinking I'm going to do this for 2 or 3 years and just see where I'm at. And here after a few months, here we are, you know, after the AAU series, which was very well received. The episode with Chris Lowry is now up to 2,400 views. We just did the one with Josh Pastner. That's already at 3,400 views after 2 days, which my previous high was 3,300 with Calbert Chaney, and that was after 3 months. And so it's catching on. And so I hope you guys feel excited the way I do. You know, it feels like if you've ever been a part of a team and you have an idea and you don't know if it's going to work, and then you start to see it working and people start getting excited. I know I'm excited, and I hope you feel excited because I couldn't do this without you. So thank you so much for your support, and feel good that, you know, you're helping someone with their idea build from the ground up. You didn't just jump on a bandwagon once. I was like at Stephen A. Smith level. This is true grassroots. So thank you so much. Coming next, we have my friend, excellent coach in the Missouri Valley Conference, Greg Lansing, head coach at Indiana State basketball. So I've been knowing Coach Lansing for a while. I even touched on a story that he really helped me out to get into college coaching back in 2013. And so we share some stories about that. But, you know, this guy just has a wealth of knowledge. He started at high school, went on to Indiana State, went to Iowa, coached with Steve Alford at Iowa, had some success there, Big Ten titles, NCAA tournaments and all that, postseason play. Now back at Indiana State as the head coach. And so, you know, a lot of you coaches out there, high school, who have aspirations to get to college, we discussed that. You know, he's been at a Power 5 conference. He's now at the MVC, so there's obviously different levels of resources there. We discussed that and also talk expectations for next year. He has a great base of guys coming back. So we touch a lot of things. Great conversation with the great guy. This is one of the best guys in the business. So without further ado, let's go ahead and tune in with Coach Greg Lansing. Joining us today, like I said, is Indiana State head coach Greg Lansing. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing great, Marcus. Good to be on with you.
Thanks a lot for making the time. So let's go ahead and get started. And how about you tell the people where you're from and why'd you get into coaching?
Well, I'm from Iowa. I'm the son of a high school coach. My dad's long since retired, but he's in the Hall of Fame, and grew up basically every day, all day around basketball, and learning that losing was not okay. And just kind of, that was really the only interest I ever had, was to be a coach.
So you knew from a very young age this is what you wanted to do?
It's just something I always wanted to do. I knew I wanted to play for as long as I could play, but I wasn't near as good as you. So my career got cut short a little bit, but went right into being a graduate assistant, a coach, got my master's degree in counseling, and just continued in the profession.
Cool. So who gave you your first break to get in? I know a lot of times people have always told me the hardest thing is just to get in the door. So who gave you your first break? And then after that, could you kind of tell us from there, where all have you been leading up until now?
Yeah, Marcus, I'm one that has hit every step. You know, I didn't have the name, a big name. I was no great Division I player or anything like that. So I couldn't skip any steps. And basically, after I was a graduate assistant for Dave Boots, the guy I played for at South Dakota, I took a high school coaching job in Iowa. I was very fortunate. I remember Jim Hallahan, who was an assistant under Johnny Orr at Iowa State, when I was saying, hey, should I try and because I had an opportunity to be a Division II assistant coach. And he told me, he goes, take that head coaching job. That head coaching experience is something that it'll always be important to you. You know, it'll be very valuable throughout that. And it was great advice. I really appreciate it, because being a head high school coach was 2 of the best years of my life. And then while I was there, I was fortunate to have some good Nate Green, who you know, have some good players in our program. And that was really just kind of when the AAU stuff and those summer camps, those evaluation camps were getting going. And I saw Chris Theobald, who was an assistant at Mankato State when I played at South Dakota. And he just asked me, did you want to get into college coaching? I said, yeah. You know, so I left a a really good job as a head high school coach and counselor at Des Moines Roosevelt to go as a restricted earnings coach at Indiana State. Sherman Dillard gave me the opportunity, and that was rough. You know, you're living on $12,000 a year for 2 years, but it really kind of paved the path for what I was doing. So when he went to James Madison, his alma mater, and Coach Waltman got the job, Nate Green was there playing for us, and I was fortunate enough to stay and get on the road as a full-time assistant. And then it's just been a gradual climb. I was a volunteer to restricted earnings to third assistant, second assistant, associate head. Fortunate enough to work for Steve Alford for 7 years at Iowa, which is a dream school for me, being from Iowa. And then coming back with Coach Waltman there as associate head coach. Kevin McKenna, when he wasn't retained, Kevin McKenna and I basically were the two candidates for the head coach at Indiana State. And I think Ron Prettyman, our AD, figured I'd stay even if I didn't get the job. So he hired Kevin, who's a great choice, a great coach, a good guy, coming from Creighton. So I was there with him for 3 years, and then he left to be with Dana Altman at Oregon, and I got the head coaching job. So 11 years later, here we are.
Well, man, that's an incredible story. And one couple of things that stand out to me is you getting that job for $12,000 a year. Sometimes people see head coaches now, and they're like, oh, they live such a good life, and they don't realize the sacrifices that it took to get where you're at. And so with that being said, speaking about salaries and everything, you know, I think one of the things that fans don't quite grasp is the resources that come along with being in a Power 5 school, whether that's football or basketball or whatever, those extra resources to be able to just jump on a private plane provided by boosters to go somewhere one night, be back the same night, recruiting, all the things, travel, all those things. And so being at Iowa, you had a lot of success, 3 NCAA tournament appearances, 3 NIT appearances, 2 Big Ten titles. And like you say, you were with Coach Alford there, and then you come back to Indiana State. And from what I gather, Indiana State is in the bottom half in terms of, you know, resources and budget in the MVC. So how was it to go from Big Ten and all of the resources that provides to come to a school like Indiana State? Is that a tough adjustment for a coach in terms of how to run a program?
Well, for me it wasn't, Marcus, just because I played Division II when we didn't have much at the University of South Dakota. And then I came to Indiana State. Like you said, I was restricted earnings. So we're right there at the bottom with budget and those types of things previously at Indiana State. But going to Iowa, you just get spoiled. I mean, it's obviously the best of everything. The way you take care of your guys, the way you travel, your facilities are the best. And right now, today's day and age of college basketball, it's kind of the rich get richer, you know, and it seems like that Power 5 is even getting more separation with the mid-majors. But when I came back to Indiana State, you know, I knew I was in for. I mean, I just fortunate and blessed to get the head coaching job there. And I've never been one of those guys that have the best of everything. You know, we're blue collar, we're the underdog, and I kind of like it that way. And you make the most of what you have. You make the most of what you have. I've never been one to not look at what you don't have. It's just what you do have. And we have plenty enough to get it done at Indiana State in a great league, a very competitive league. And Missouri Valley is very comparable to the Big Ten and just how difficult it is and tough it is. But yeah, we have to find different ways to do it. We have to find different ways to do it. And we just make by with what we do have.
Well, I appreciate you being humble about that and explaining that. But I also know sometimes, not all the times, but that may restrict your capacity to travel. You know, Kentucky, Calipari can jump and go on a flight to California, then go to Oregon, then go to Texas, come back, coach, jump on another private flight. Indiana State and other smaller schools don't have that. And so to be able to accomplish what you've accomplished there is saying something. So for the people that don't know, I just wanted to be able to explain that. So with that being said, this year you finished 3rd in the conference, a tough conference this year. And although you're losing Christian Williams, Jordan Barnes, who had a great career there, you brought in a very talented freshman class this year, bringing back one of my favorite players in MVC, Tyreek Key. So what are some of your expectations for your team next year?
Yeah, we lost Bronson Kessinger too, who has been valuable, you know, down there from Cortland Central in Indiana, just fighting through the very difficult leg injury that he had his senior in high school. But we do lose a lot. You know, our guys, we feel like we got it back going again this year. We went through some times where we weren't as good as we needed to be, hovering around the middle of the valley. And, you have to have Power 5 type guys on your team. Otherwise, you have no chance of contending. And we love what we have coming back. Tyreek's been twice all first team all conference and led the league in scoring as a sophomore. So he'll be a senior next year, and have unbelievably high expectations for him and our team. And we started 2 freshmen, started a sophomore a lot. So we did start with some youth, and we love what we have coming back. We have guys that were huge impact players on a pretty good team in the Valley last year. And then this year, adding 6 new guys. We have 6 new guys coming in. We kind of delved into the 5th-year transfer for a couple guards and junior college big, and really like what we have coming in. We think it's not always about accumulating talent. It's about building a team. And we think we have a really nice team coming back. We'll have our challenges just because we have so many new guys. But when you have Tyreek Key, Jake Moravia, Trey Williams, Kobe Barnes, guys like that coming back, that's a really good foundation.
Yeah, you do. You got a lot of pieces to put together and make a really good team. And on a personal opinion, I call the games in the Valley, and Tyreek Key is one of my favorite players, not just because he scores, but in my opinion, the games I've seen, I see other guys who score 20, but they might have 13 in real minutes. Then at the end of the game, they get a breakaway, they get a free throw, they make a senseless 3 at the buzzer. Man, Tyreek Key gets buckets at major moments in the game. The other team makes a run, you give the ball to Tyreek, he's getting the bucket. So I always like his performance in the clutch. So I think when you got a player like that at the MVC level, you're going to be good.
He's a scorer, man, and what he does, he gets them on his own. As he continues to learn how to play away from the ball, off the ball, read the defense. I mean, someone like you, just think of what he would have been in a true motion like that, where 2 or 3 guys are screening for him all the time. But the game slowed down for Tyreek. Believe me when I tell you, and I've been around a lot of hard workers, there's nobody that works harder than Tyreek Key on his game. He lives in the gym. His craft means a lot to him, but he is fun to watch. And if you've got players around him like we have, he's really tough to guard.
Yeah, so when you got talent like that, hard work, and he's athletic too, man, that's a lot of pieces to put together. So, we know that the quest every year is to win a championship or, be at the top of the Valley. Besides winning a championship, do you have other goals that you set for your team? And if so, what are they?
I haven't always been, I don't know how Coach Cruz was, Marcus, but we haven't always been the biggest group of setting goals. You always, if you say, hey, let's go undefeated at home, and say you get beat early in the year, that goal's out the window. We were 12-1 at home this year, dealing with the construction in the Holman Center. So we want to do that. We want to defend our home court and try to be get at least a split on the road in the league. We challenge ourselves with our schedule every year. We've always had difficult schedules, so our non-conference is really tough. But our goal is to be in contention at the end of the year every year to win a championship. And that goes through the dog days of February there. You want to be in a lot of big games coming down the stretch. You've been in a ton of them. We want to be relevant. We won our last 4 this year to get us to 3rd and the 3rd seed. And then you want to be playing your best basketball when you get to St. Louis for the conference tournament. And then your goal is to win it and go to the NCAA tournament. So that's always kind of our goal, just to continue to build a team throughout the year. So at the end of the year, you're playing your best.
Yeah, just get better every day. That's got to be the goal. Just get better today. This COVID-19 thing is messing up everything. We talked about this a little bit before. What are some of the things that, as a college staff, for the people that wonder how colleges are staying engaged, or Indiana State in particular, what are some of the things that you do to stay engaged with your players now that you can't do summer workouts with them, or their Zoom meetings, or what are some of the things that you do to keep the culture and stay in contact with your guys?
Yeah, and this really, it sucks, plain and simple. You're talking to a guy that all day, every day, and all year long, his life revolves around basketball and your team. And I've always said the worst part of my year is May, when you're away from your team. And now we're all going through difficult times, and And what we're trying to do is take advantage of every day. I mean, whether with your family or getting to see people you don't get to see, having some downtime. You got plenty of hours of the day to get workouts in. You have to kind of make up your own workouts as you go along. Some guys have baskets, some don't. Some guys have weights, some don't. So they're doing different things. But we are doing Zoom team meetings Mondays and Fridays as a whole group. That's with our strength coach, trainer, all the coaches, GAs, everybody, and all our guys have been on that. That's been fun. Trying to give them little exercises as we get on here and do that. I'm talking to them individually, texting with them individually as we go through here. Our academic advisors, she's been doing an unbelievable job of laying out day by day what your assignments are, what you got to get in. So we're really trying to stay on them academically. And when this hit, I was on the road. I was on the road recruiting, and they shut everything down. So I had to come home, and we still had to sign 3 guys. And some guys were in better position. Some programs were in more difficult positions. And we're lucky. You know my staff, how good they are. And we got 3 kids right away in 1 week to fill the slots and to fill needs in our program. We've taken advantage of it. I think staff, it's why you hire such good people. We've taken advantage of it and got it done. So we think we're a little bit ahead of the game. And now we just have to work on our team. And with the way the stuff is with the transfers and all that, you get your guys, you still have to continue to recruit them and take good care of them because of how some of these things are now with recruiting.
Yep. So speaking of that, like, you are in a good situation that you already have this class signed and taken care of. But, this summer, obviously for guys that are juniors about to be seniors, this is a big summer for some kids. That's where they get their offers, and then they'll sign in the fall. Do you think that the inability to get out and evaluate as much and the possibility of having less main events, open recruiting, and not being able to do that, do you feel like that will affect your ability to recruit and impact your team next year or in the years to come?
The less amount of time you get to see guys, it's obviously going to have an impact. So maybe there's going to be more mistakes made. Maybe some guy, you have to get lucky some. I think we're in a good spot because we'll have 3 scholarships, and we know we've made offers to the juniors right now that'll be seniors next year. We know who we really like and who we would really want. But this is, like you said, this is a time for the AAU events where we have a couple weekends in April where you're just watching a bunch of new guys. You're getting a bunch of new games. You're following the guys you really like, which I'd be doing. And your staff kind of goes and, hey, I really like this, really like this, really like that guy. So it's going to have an impact. But this is why, again, you hire good people and they're working phones now. They're researching guys. They're looking at things. It's not like we've stopped. It's just that your recruiting is all like what we're doing right now. It's by your phone. It's watching video of guys. So we're working as hard as we can without traveling and getting in front of these guys and following them around during the AAU tournaments.
Yeah, I've spoken to a few coaches about this, and I'm kind of concerned about the mid-major schools and below, because the 4- and 5-star guys, we know who they are. They're talented, whatnot. But a lot of times, mid-major schools, like you prefaced earlier, you need to get a kid who could play at the Power 5, but you get them at your level. And sometimes that you see that in evaluation when he slips through the cracks. And so the fact that we won't have as much time to evaluate, we're still getting film, but there's nothing like seeing a kid up front. So I'm a little bit concerned, but like you said, you got a good staff. You got former head coaches on your staff. So the programs that are prepared and have done their research in advance, and I think that it won't hurt them as much. But the last minute guys, I think it could affect them a little bit.
Well, and I just read an article this morning talking about if this one-time transfer thing happens, and how the Power 5s are just going to be recruiting good players from our level. Again, that's why we try to recruit really good guys, high character guys. We take care of them, so we haven't had guys leave. There's changes across the board virtually with everybody, but you look at all the transfers right now, I think there's over 800, and the one-time transfer hasn't even hit yet. That's probably gonna happen coming up. So again, I think it's going to cause for more separation. Our level, it's going to be difficult. But again, you got to try to recruit the guys that best fit your your program, the type of guys you have, the character guys that you have on your current team, and take great care of them. Take great care of them. And we do that at Indiana State across the board. It's not just our basketball program. It's a great place to be a student athlete, and we try to get the kids that best fit our program.
Yeah, I do know your players and your guys do love you. You're a players coach.
Play hard, defend, and have fun. Play hard, defend, and have fun. We started that a long time ago on that journey, right? Okay, now it's most important. You're connected. Okay, you are connected. There's no question. You got a strong trust because of your relationships with each other. Everybody trusts each other across the board. I trust you. I know you're going to leave it all out there tonight. And the love. Caring about each other's well-being. Okay, caring about each other's well-being. That was a hell of a send-off we had through there. Hell of a send-off. And just empty your tank, man. Enjoy it. That's why you came here. To be in moments like this, and let's just go have a lot of fun with each other tonight and go get this done. Yeah.
Kind of close up, I always ask this on the details of life because I'm usually bringing on people that have had some sort of success. And so, you've had a lot of success coaching at high school, been in NCAA tournaments and, Missouri Valley Conference, Big Ten, done a lot of good things in your career. Are there any daily habits or routines or anything that you do that you feel like that gives you, the opportunity to kind of separate yourself?
Well, I'm a morning workout guy. So, get up early in the morning and that's kind of my time. That's my therapy. Obviously you're in thought a lot of the time what you do, but I'll get up and work out 6 days a week for sure. 5 maybe sometime, but it's every day, whether you're traveling or not. And that's just kind of the good therapy for me, trying to stay in good shape, exercise your brain a little bit too as well. But then, again, my life is, my team and our staff, and I rely on those guys heavily. I love our guys, so staying in close contact with them, and everybody talks about it. It's a family. It's this, and I get all that, but it is truly a family for me because I don't have kids. Those guys on our team are our kids, and my biggest responsibility is take great care of them and make sure my staff is happy and doing what they want to do. So the exercise thing, and then whether it be watching videos of different sets and out of timeout plays and underneath out of bounds and all these things. I've always been a student of the game. So I know guys that I look to and guys that I think do a great job. I just try to study them as much as possible, as well as studying our own team, watching our games from last year and seeing how we can get better.
Well, yes, being a student of the game and studying tape and all that stuff, man. And I'm a big believer. I've been trying to work out more as well. Lost a few pounds in the last few months, but you're right, man. When you're working out, it kind of get rid of all that negative energy. I think gives you a more clear mind going into your work day. But before we close, I do want to share a quick story with you and with anybody watching. So in 2013, I was working in Atlanta, and I was at Chick-fil-A, and I was getting the basketball bug to get back into coaching. And I remember going to the Final Four. And so for anybody who hasn't been to the Final Four, other coaches are down there. They're walking around. They're usually in their little groups and stuff. And so I'm just telling the people this and telling you as well. I remember linking up with you and your crew. And, man, I ended up getting a job that summer. But one thing, sometimes people come on here, and I know them at a certain extent. But I do want to share, man. I've always wanted to tell you thank you. I really appreciate the way you treated me that summer, because I wanted to talk to a lot of these coaches. I had these aspirations, and I'm not going to name any names, but some of these guys were jerks. Literally look at you, kind of just walk off. Like, you say hello, and they just act like you're not there or whatever. And I hadn't talked to you in years. And, man, you embraced me, brought me in. I remember you introduced me to Tim Miles, kind of gave me the confidence that I could be a coach, even told me that you might have opportunity for me as an ops guy later on the summer if I hadn't found anything. And so, man, just the genuineness of that and how you treated me, man, I've never forgot it. So I wanted to tell you thank you and let the people know, you come across as a nice guy, but this guy hadn't seen me in years and treated me like I was one of his own players. He just coached against me for years. And so I really appreciate that, Coach.
Well, I didn't appreciate all the buckets you gave us when you were a player. I know that. I respected you a lot. And, it's just be who you are, and I try to tell young guys coming up that do the job that you have. Don't be looking at the next. And you talk about those Final Fours. Those guys are just looking, hey, I need to talk to him. Hey, I need to talk to him. Do the best job you can at the job that you have, and things will go your way, and it's all about being a good person. I'm not fake. I remember Coach Waltman getting mad at us because we'd always talk to the other assistants on the floor before the game, and he's that old school guy. He wants to hate everybody. I don't do it that way. I got very good friends in this business. I respect the heck out of guys that do a great job and how hard we work. And the Valley, you've seen enough of these games. They're good people in our league with great staffs. Now, we want to beat each other's brains out. There's nobody more competitive than me, but there's a lot of good people. And just try to treat people as you would want to be treated. And I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody. Just like I said, I didn't have a name coming through, and I just tried to be me as much as I can and hire good people and be around good people. And I enjoy it, man. I enjoy the camaraderie of being with other coaches and then going and competing against them and try to beat them and their team. So I appreciate you saying that. And you're right. There's a lot of different people in this business that do it for a lot of different things. And I just do it for the relationships.
Well, I appreciate it, man. And like I said, I can vouch for everything you're saying right now. So thanks for taking the time to come out and talk with us. Continue to stay safe and healthy out there, man. And best of luck to you this summer and next year, Coach.
Hey, greatly appreciate you. Thanks for having me on. I look forward to seeing you soon.
All right. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you so much, Coach, for coming on, sharing that knowledge with us. And I don't know about you guys, but when I heard that speech in the locker room, man, I got chills. Like, that's the type of guy I want to play for. That's the type of coach I want to play for. And it's easy to see why he doesn't have a lot of players transfer and why kids do want to come play for him. And so best of luck to you, Coach Lansing. Best of luck to the Sycamores this summer. Hopefully you get out and can recruit, and then also going into next season. So with that said, guys, we have some more really good episodes coming up. I know we have Larry Hughes, and that's going to be awesome. I just recorded with him. Talking about his time with LeBron James, Allen Iverson, some local work that he does in the community here, Larry Hughes Basketball Academy that he has going on here in St. Louis. So some really good stuff with that. Also have a episode coming up with some former teammates of mine, Chris Hollander, Kareem Richardson. Chris Hollander is an assistant at University of Missouri right now, men's basketball. Kareem Richardson was the former head coach at UMKC, but he's now assistant with Greg Lansing at Indiana State. He was also on the staff at Louisville when they went to the national title game. So he's had a plethora of experiences as well. And we had some, old teammate moments where we were talking about our time together. So some really good stuff coming up, some more high-level coaches, just some all great things. And they're all coming in here sharing the details of what it takes for them to be successful, because you know what? Greatness is in the details, guys. Like, subscribe, share, all that. Make sure you just keep coming back and supporting. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to keep bringing on good content. I just need you guys to keep supporting me, and we're going to keep keeping it moving, okay? Thank you so much. Have a blessed day. See you next time. Peace.